can see you.
Okay, Frank, we're ready.
That's Linda's, isn't it?
Okay, play the dead.
It's yours, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was mine, yeah. Good one.
Oh, was
Good
it?
on you.
Oh, thank you. I fixed up a header.
Welcome everybody, and Phil Clancy, our prospective for hopefully new member. We don't frighten him off with all our carryings on. We have apologies from Liz Carlisle, Joe Detling, Murray Brad, Robert Tonner, Colin Pitchfork and David Mead. Is anyone else? George, whose usual late self? Or?
Well, he knew it was on and he was coming, but
yeah, he rang me a couple of days ago, so...
but the boys were saying there was train problems. You
yeah,
saying
There was the
which is
Sydney
not unusual.
Marathon. There was the Sydney Marathon one this morning.
why would that affect the trains?
Shouldn't. No, it's something about track work and...
Just getting the people around.
Yeah.
Now, apart from that, general business, the ANDA Money Expo is on Saturday the 19th and Sunday the 20th of October at Hurstville Entertainment Centre. I know nothing about it myself, so I'll ask Rod to explain.
Well, I only
about.
found out about it because every October we go to the ANDA Money Festival, which is at Town Hall. So I was looking online to see when it was, and of course it's a Saturday and Sunday, and the Sunday is when we have our next meeting, now that we're going to the third Sunday. So it clashes, and sort of say, do we want to go to the ANDA Fair or do we want to come here? But the advantage of going to the ANDA Fair is we do get new members.
Yeah,
That's what threw me when I said Hurstville. Wait a minute, like
that's so far
same
away.
thing as...
Yeah, so they've changed the venue, and it's 16 McMahon Street at the Hurstville Entertainment Centre. It's within walking distance of bus and train, so there. But there's street parking, and at number 6 McMahon Street, there's a council car park, and it's free on the weekends. And the only problem is there's only 170 spots, and if there's a coin show on, there may be a few people taking it. So you want to be early, but with our attendance, we have a table at the ANDA Fair, and we also help them run it by we sit at the main entry table, and entry into that fair is by a gold coin donation. So we're sitting there and everybody comes in, we give them the brochure and make sure they put their dollar coin or whatever in that. So we help them out that way. But of course we have the table that they give us for free, we have displays, and we try and convert the numismatic public who are there to buy all this stuff into joining the club. They really don't join clubs. Most people sort of collect by themselves. And it's hard to get people to join clubs and come to meetings.
So how would we actually have a meeting?
Well, we will have the meeting on the Sunday, and the meeting will be 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Or we can have it 2 o'clock to 3.
Behind our table, sort of.
Behind our table, yeah, we'll just sit there and talk. But as you know from previous Sundays, Sunday afternoons are very quiet.
Very quiet, yeah.
Saturdays are frenetic, there's people queuing up. You get 80% of the people who go to those ANDA fairs go on the Saturday. And they're all queuing up to buy the ANDA PNCs and special logo stuff at a very expensive price.
Yes, it's getting worse, isn't it?
Yeah, and because it's only limited to like 500 or so, it's still not a few. There's still 500, and it's their source of income. So, yeah, so that's it. So So I need volunteers for that show, especially the Saturday. Now, if we're having a meeting on the Sunday, no doubt everyone will want to come on the Sunday.
Yeah.
But I need a few helpers on the Saturday as well.
Is it this actual weekend coming up?
No, in October. That's
Oh,
October.
that's all right.
Yeah,
It's the next
next month.
weekend I can't do it. Next weekend I can't because I've got.
Next
No,
month.
It's
This
full.
is next
It's
month.
booked out.
This,
fully.
this is October.
Oh yeah. Put my name down.
Saturday or Sunday or
Oh,
both.
hang on, what date is that?
The
Date?
19th
Saturday the
and
19th or Sunday the 20th.
20th.
And you can get there by train. All you have to do is change at Wynyard.
Pencil me in and I'll let you know for sure.
Terrific.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Now, just on there too, we
But I
had
don't know where
the
hers Phillies though, but I'll figure it out.
yes,
last couple of years too, we've offered trial membership to those who might be interested. Should we do that again?
yeah. So, with the trial membership, for your sake, if you didn't want to join today, you could get a trial membership, which means that you can come to meetings, you can bid in auctions, but you won't be given the medals or the journals. Anything that costs us money, you don't get. But membership is $40 a year, and our membership starts on the 1st of July. So we're a calendar year.
So
What
I
else?
think, as you're aware, the auction 56 is closed, and I think it was very successful.
Well, the two Lindas bought,
We cleaned up.
Lindas
didn't we?
bought everything, which is really good.
Sounds like some of the same things. Eh?
Yeah, we do.
But she bought more than you did, Lindy. So, Linda, so, you know, another $300 and you can outbid her.
Right. Thank you.
And I was hoping giving you the catalogue of there that you can start bidding on A&S
Other things.
medals as well.
I think I've got that one.
Are you happy?
Sorry, just going back to the Sunday meeting on the 20th of October, the subject will be Mexico.
Yeah.
So anything you got on Mexico, and as usual, any recent acquisitions, bring them along. The next auction, which will be auction 57, will open in January, close
A week after it opens.
a week over, okay.
Just to think quickly.
So if anyone can possibly help out, if you let Rod know, which you can attend to,
Yeah. Especially the Saturday.
especially the Saturday. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do so.
Even though on here, I'll say it's a typo, tonight's topic is Malaysia. So, has anybody brought along something to... No? No?
Do you know how that got in? I copied the agenda from last month, which was at Noble's,
Yeah.
and forgot to change tonight to today.
We'll forgive you that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay, so nobody's bought anything. Shame.
I meant to bring something,
Shame.
but I was so busy doing everything else I
We can
totally
show
forgot.
our coins from our auction.
Okay, well, I've got a bit, but I must admit I've left it to the last minute, so I haven't done what you call a lot of research. Not that I've got that much, really.
Oh, that's quite warm.
They do get warm, don't they?
So really cool.
Even though that's the only note I've got.
Something like that touch the roof, isn't it?
Just a little bit of history on Malaysia. I don't know how many of you might be familiar with Malaysia. Well, I'm certainly not myself. But I was very surprised to find that it started out from the Sultanate of Malacca around 1400. So they've been around for a while. And in 1511, the Portuguese did their usual thing and took them over. Went through till sometime when the Dutch decided in 1641 that they wanted it, and then the British took it over in 1824. So it's had a bit of a a mixed history.
Is that all as Malaysia or Malaya?
Well, it's just Malaysia.
So-
It had British Borneo, Malaya sort of thing.
So we got the whole history from straight settlements. Singapore was 1819.
Then, of course, we had Japanese had a go at them, so everybody had a go at them. So the only note that I've got on that is a 1 ringgit note, which currently is worth about 35. Well, not that one because this has been demonetised in 1969.
That's it.
But a current ringgit is worth about 35 cents. The photo on there, or the picture on there is Tanuku, which means King, Abdul Rahman. On the reverse, there's a the logo of the bank, which is the, I'm not quite sure what the animal is. Somebody else might be able to identify it. Something really ancient, I'd say. And in the what is our right-hand corner is the watermark, which is a tiger's head. Sort of get without the shine.
Right.
Or as they said in the song, My Old Man's a Dustman,
Yeah.
when they said, where's my tiger's head? And the reply was, 4 foot from its tail.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so the other little note I've got is that Malaya and British Borneo, Malaysia as it is now was Malaya and British Borneo until the 16th of September 1963. And if we start off with the do you want to take them out, might be easier? Or?
No, I just have to get the kink out of this.
As you said last month, do it the old-fashioned way.
Yep. The old-fashioned method isn't working neither. It's working here, but it's not working.
There.
Well, that's the one.
Well, don't blame the screen. I warmed to death.
No, the screen's innocent. It's more technical.
That machine you got there is called Epson. I think it needs a bit of Epson.
That's it.
No, it's
not
the,
him.
it was the power source.
Play on words, you know.
Near enough, you reckon?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it got really hot and turned itself off.
Really.
'Cause
Maybe you just need a new one.
That is a new one.
no, this is the old one, but
Oh, is it?
I turned it off.
We do that.
Something happened.
There we are.
I turned that one off. Yep. Yeah. Might be an idea just to take them off,
Yeah.
take them out, but I'll just take.
There's a few very similar, so
I'll just take one at a time
It's
and.
flashing.
Flashing.
It's flashing.
Flashing. Oh. Sorry, I'm deaf too. Yeah, it should be. Yes.
Yes, the problem wasn't the camera. It was the cameraman.
There's your reward.
Okay. The first one is, there was a number of 1 cent coins. These early ones, obviously they're it's the head of the British monarch, which is both George VI and Queen Elizabeth as they came through to 63. Then the later ones that show the denomination with the on the reverse which would be that one, I'd say, one.
Yep.
We have the reverse of that one, right, the round one. Yeah, oh, there we are. They're the traditional Chris knives, pretty deadly little weapons that they play around with. And over the years they've changed several times on both the obverse and reverse. Then there's moving on one of them, not sure which one now, we might pass over, but there's one, got the hibiscus flower. That one's showing there now, that's the Houses of Parliament, or Parliament building as they say, where they call it Houses of. So one has the hibiscus flower.
These are the later ones.
No, now that is a Ravana uni drum.
Oops.
So how you play it, or whether it's drummed or not, I don't know, because you've got all those little bits around the outside of it, so
Upside down.
I don't know whether it's upside down or whether it's sort of the feet or what.
This must be a special one.
Yeah. Yeah, like they say that there's quite a few various designs over the years, so like most coins, so they do change them. That's the hibiscus flower on top of that, the one on the right there. Then we move on to the 10 cent. There's a couple of 5 cent ones there, but they're very, very similar to the ones, so I think we'll worry too much about them. The same thing, you've got the queen, the king and then the queen. You can't change, you're going to be going to the 10 cent. That's one of the Parliament building the Parliament. That one's got the yeah, that one.
So these are the other sides, are they?
Yeah, that's the one.
Side.
That's a we can get that down. I'm not too sure. I didn't, as I say, I didn't do a lot on it. I kept putting it off until I'll do that tomorrow, and suddenly I've got it. What's that's a bit hard to see. It's a weave pattern of the Marie tribe in the peninsula. Obviously, it would have some significance to them. Then moving on to a 20 cent. So, yeah, we'll just jump over to 20.
20s. You didn't bring any straight settlements in?
No, I didn't have any yet. Okay, so there we have, in the Parliament, you know, the big one showing off the Parliament. It's pretty consistent, you know, throughout. Once again, that's the one, I think that's the one that's the jasmine flower. No, sorry, that's not the jasmine flower, there must be another one there, isn't it? Yeah, that one.
Last one.
Yeah, that's a jasmine flower. Can't make out what the other, there's something else behind it as well. But 2001, is that the 2001? What's that one?
That's a 50 cent.
Okay, well, there's one stuff like, I could only make it out, I called it a treasure box. Yeah, now that one in the middle there, I couldn't find anything on it at all, but to me it looked like some sort of a little treasure trove box or whatever you want to call it, a trinket box or something. I just couldn't find a explanation for it at all.
A cultural thing. Yeah.
Those later ones have lost the human effigy, haven't they?
Sorry?
The later ones don't have the a person, a president or king or anything on the back.
Yeah, and the other one, that's the one on the right there. That's the jasmine flower and parallel lines, or whatever all that means. I've no idea. Now sorry, I've jumped ahead there. The 50 cents. Cent, I suppose, is just SEN probably
Because I
translates to cent or
Indonesian, right? I got a cereal packet.
Yeah.
And it said cent on it as well.
Yeah, so I presume that's just translates to cent, I presume. Is that the reverse of that first one? What? Okay, so there must be another one there, the 1989.
Probably that one.
This one, yeah. The one with the coins.
Got the
Yeah, that's a ceremonial kite, but that's all I could find. It's just ceremonial. It doesn't, nothing to say what the ceremony might be. That'd be fine, the kite. Whether you get high as a kite, but yeah. And the other one we haven't seen. Yeah, so we've already had the one with the Sulak can, which was a feed trendle, which was a parallel line. We've already had that on the somewhere on the line. Then we move on to the $1.
I think we got one more 50 cents.
Flipping over.
Yeah, that's a 50 cent as well. So they've reduced the size.
Yeah, so it's probably the reverse of that. It's the one. So that one, that one, yeah. Well,
the other way around.
Take it, yeah, they call it pea tendrils, or whether sweet peas or green peas, I don't know. That's all I came up with that one. And then we go on to the $1. Hibiscus flower on the reverse and on the reverse. Yeah. The reverse, that's their, again going back to their traditional krish, which is their sort of knife and the sheath for the knife. You can see the long handle sort of fits in. That's all I've got on Malaysia.
They only go to the $1, no greater than $1.
No, not in my what I no, there's certainly, I think that's when they go into all the paper stuff in up to 100 or all that. I think from what I saw, they apparently only go up to about 100 in paper, but even that was very much to say that.
It's a 1 cent.
The current one is only worth 35 cents, so 100 is $3.50. So, you'd have a wad of them if you wanted to do anything.
I'm sorry I didn't bring some of my stuff. I was so caught up with the auction, I forgot. But Malaya was very interesting because I used to collect British East Asia, and it was started in the 1800s, more or less from the East India Company expanding, and they expanded into Malaya. The Dutch and the Portuguese had been there earlier on and set up, and then the British came. Raffles colonized, started a colony in Singapore in 1819, and it was mainly as a gateway for the China trade. So the British were after the Chinese tea and chinoiserie, and they needed all these stops, ports to service all the sailing boats, because it was more a port area for the sailing boats. And the Dutch had already colonized the Netherlands, East Indies, today Indonesia, and the British were colonizing Malaya. They started at Penang, Malacca, Singapore were the three major port cities that they were, and they were called the Strait Settlements. So there were three settlements. It was the Straits of Malacca, and there were three settlements. It was Penang, Malacca, and Singapore. Malacca was then colonized by the Dutch, and the East India Company had trading posts in Indonesia, especially in Sumatra on the other side of the Malacca Straits. And they actually did a swap with the Dutch. They gave them their one in Sumatra and got Malacca. And earlier on, Malacca had been part of the Portuguese. The British also went to North Borneo, and they started a company, North Borneo Company, on the island of Borneo. And earlier on, the Brooke family had established Sarawak. Sarawak was also on the northern part of Borneo. So the big island of Borneo is north of Indonesia. The southern part of the island belongs to Indonesia, and the northern part belongs to Malaysia. And there's a little independent bit for Brunei, which has a lot of oil there as well, and the Sultan operates that. So the Strait settlements, the first coins were issued. The first coins were issued in 1845. There were three main copper coins. There were 6 coins in all, 3 silver and three copper ones. But there was a quarter cent, half cent, and 1 cent. And the first one said India Straits. Then the Indian Mutiny happened, and the East India Company lost its trading mandate, and the British Crown sort of took over the running of India, and it became, so it was the second set of coins was in 1862, I believe, and it was just called the first one the East India Company, second one were the Indian Straits, and then 1872 the Colonial Office took over the area and ran it from the UK as a colony, and it became Strait settlements. So that's where they started. But again, it was all about trade, and everything about trade. Hong Kong was the same. It was all about trade. And Hong Kong was started in 1841 after the First China War, and it was all about getting the trade with China because the Chinese didn't want to trade. And the only thing the Chinese merchants wanted was silver. And there was millions of dollars worth of pounds worth of silver going in to pay for the tea, and it didn't balance. And that's when the British and the East India Company earlier on said they like opium. We will grow opium. And they did, and they exported the opium in to balance the trade for the tea. Except they ended up selling more opium in than they got tea out, so the imbalance went the other way. And of course the Chinese government wasn't too happy about it, and they banned it, and they seized all the opium that was in the area of Canton and destroyed it. And that's when the First War started, and that's when Hong Kong was obtained by gunboat diplomacy. The big companies in Hong Kong, Jardines Matheson, for their centenary in the 1940s, they got somebody to write the history, and they didn't like what he wrote because he was truthful. So they cancelled his contract, and he published the book himself, and it was called Foreign Mud.
What was it called?
Foreign Mud. So, yeah.
Thanks for that, Ronnie. Thanks for all that.
Good history, isn't that?
John, have you got anything? Just
Show us your recent acquisition and tell us about it.
Oh, okay, I've got another one as well. Recent acquisition from the auction, the recent auction.
Yep.
I'll pass it around.
Well, we'll show it and you can talk about it.
Okay.
fire the projector again. Right?
No, that's a. I'll leave, yeah.
We'll take it out because otherwise we're going to get reflection.
Okay, they're interesting banknotes, these ones. After the Russian Revolution,
Machine on.
They're turning on again?
Switch itself off again.
It's getting too hot. We'll have to give it a minute. Obviously the fan isn't working or something. Me kicking the switch.
There we go.
No,
It did flash then. But I'd say it's not plugged in properly.
no, it is plugged in. Maybe it's not
There we
plugged
go.
in.
Little man's got one here.
These little men in those machines are a nuisance, aren't they?
You keep going to sleep.
They're out with the nuisance, see?
Come back on. Come on.
It's on.
Slowly coming.
There should be something.
There we go.
Let there be light.
Not much light under Lennon.
I don't see a light switch, do you? No, don't worry. We've got enough light now.
it's getting enough. It's bright.
Okay, you're telling us about the Russian
Okay.
Revolution.
When the Bolsheviks took over, they were still fairly idealistic for about 3 weeks or something, I suppose. But one of the things they were going to do was get rid of money, and they did. Then they found out they needed it, so they brought in the rubles. But they had very little control over the value of the rubles. Over the whole of the Soviet era, they never ever got control over inflation. They never ever did. And the Russian rubles were pretty well worthless, which was not much good when you're trying to trade with people overseas and buy stuff. They want real money. So they produced these things. The name is based on an old Russian coin, and they were backed by foreign currency and by gold reserves. and the proper name is a chervanets. And it's interesting, there's 3 words for these things. A single one is a chervanets, 2, 3 or 4 is chervansa, and 5 or more is chervanet, chervantsev. So they haven't got plural and singular, they've got plural and singular and something in between. But that's what these were. These were backed by, they weren't, officially any Russian could get hold of them, but unofficially if you got any of those, I think you'd have been in trouble. They were specifically for use buying foreign things from foreign countries. So that's what I like, and these ones are colourful. This one is what, 1930 something. I think. The first ones are produced by just like a white sheet of paper and put the writing on it. They're very hard to get. These ones are not. So that's what that is. If you put on the other side, you'll see they still had ideals. 1937. They still had ideals of becoming a worldwide movement, and that's why you see all that writing in other languages as well. But it's a piat. That back to front R is actually yat. Piat and chervansev. So that's what that is. They're quite interesting. Because, well, to me anyway, because of that. This I haven't seen yet. I don't know what condition it's in. But, okay.
Lot 165.
Yep. The Ionian, okay. Going back to the Fourth Crusade. The Crusaders turned up to Venice to be transported to the Holy Land.
Yes.
The Crusaders had no money, and the Venetians expected to be paid. So what the hell, instead of going to the Holy Land first, why not go to, they went across the Adriatic to a place called Zama, I think, in Croatia now. It's a Christian town, but they sacked that, and that got them the money to pay the passage. Then after that, on the way to the Holy Land, they passed Constantinople. Thought, what the hell, they had a pretender to the throne, they took over Constantinople. After that, they decided, well, why are we going to the Holy Land? The Crusaders wanted land, they had land, and the Venetians wanted control of the trade. They had now had all the islands that had belonged to the Byzantines. So they stopped there. Pope excommunicated them, he was not very happy. The Venetians got all those islands. Over the centuries, they lost them. From the east, they started losing them to the Turks. But the last set of islands along the west coast of Greece, the Ionian Islands, they kept.
Where's the entrance?
Yeah.
Yes, we're here.
The last lot of islands they kept until the Napoleonic Wars. When Napoleon conquered Italy, they included Venice, and then that brought all their possessions into play. And so there was fighting.
Stay there. Stay where you are, baby. Move around.
Yeah.
No, we can move in here if necessary.
West coast of Greece.
Got your own chair. Got your own chair.
Crowded, is it?
That's
Well considered.
what do you say? We're almost finished, George.
Stay there, you can go check.
George has got to go to the chair.
Right, you were telling us about the Ionian Isles.
Okay. The Ionian Islands are off the west coast of Greece, close to Venice. So the Venetians were able to keep them until Napoleon conquered the whole of Italy. During the Napoleonic Wars, they changed hands several times. And in the finish, the English wanted them because they were strategic. There was a very strong fortress on Corfu, and also the Kythera, the island my parents come from, is off the south coast of Greece. Nobody passes by Greece without being seen from Kythera. So they were strategic. So the British took them. They kept them for 50 years. After that, with the coming of steamships, they really weren't any strategic value anymore. They weren't profitable. So in 1864, they just told the British, well, we can have them.
You can have
In the meantime, they produced coins. The silver ones are interesting enough, but the copper ones are the more interesting ones. On the back, on the front there, so that's the obverse, is Britannia. If you flip it over, it's upside down. Okay, there's a winged lion holding a Bible. That's the Lion of St. Mark, which is the symbol of Venice. Because they'd been held by Venice, even though the Venetians had lost them, for the first 20 years. The British set up supposedly an independent nation, the Ionian Republic, the United Ionian Islands or something. I forget exactly what they called it. But on each main island there was a British resident to give advice to the locals, and with the British garrison to help him explain the advice if necessary. But the official language for the first 20 years was not Greek or English, it was Italian, still stayed Italian. That's the Lion of St. Mark. If you get a good look at it, you can see in the Bible there are 7 arrows, one for each of the main Ionian Islands. And then, if you can get closer to it, oh, get it? No, it's not really. Yeah, you can just see the arrow tips at the top. There it is. Well done. The feathers are at the bottom, the tips are at the top of the, sticking above the Bible. And then around the writing is Greek, Ionic, called Ionian government. So there's a couple of reasons I like this. First of all, because they're from my part of Greece, my parents' part of Greece. And secondly, because they're multicultural. They've got Greek writing, an Italian symbol, and an English queen on them. So I think that's very suitable for being a multicultural nation like Australia. They're not that hard to get. Those one is. The rest are not that hard to get. But that's why I like it. When I saw it for sale, I thought, why not?
Never haven't.
Yep. And then I thought, I did get this as well. This is a recent acquisition from Change. Oh, I wasn't.
The bluey dollar.
A bluey dollar. I believe somebody's got 600,000 of them. So.
But they had the blue ones, didn't they?
But that actually came in my change.
Right. I have a friend, Gloria, who collects stamps. She was telling me she went down to Warringah Mall to buy the latest set of stamps, the 4 stamps, because she collects mammals on stamps. And she paid for it. She got home and she only had 3 stamps, not 4. She paid $4 or whatever. So she went back and said, look, I've only got 3 of the 4 of the set of 4. You only gave me 3 stamps, and this is missing. So they checked it out, and they hadn't been given the 4th stamp. So they said, we'll reimburse you your money. And they gave her a bluey dollar, but a blue one. One of the ones that had been stolen. And this was changed from the post office. she's very lucky to have a official blue dollar.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
Well, that was mine.
Oh, thank you.
Ross, have you got anything?
Recent acquisitions.
Yeah.
Or Malaysia, whichever.
I didn't bring Malaysia. Recent acquisitions.
This is on the topic of Malaya.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Malaya?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get
You want to do Malaya?
Let Ross show his recent acquisitions first.
Yeah.
Well, the Postal Order Society runs an auction too. And incredibly inefficient compared to how Rod runs.
Ross, please.
And my attraction to these was one, from a collection of Mal Ted's, who was the previous editor, who's passed on, and I had a lot to do with Mal Ted's over the years. And he was like a Tom Hanley of the Postal Order Society. But to buy this, so I almost feel guilty, sort of thing. It's a specimen of 4 shillings of the first postal notes of Tasmania.
Wow.
That, you know, they date back to in the 1880s, and the little marker A2 is where a collector's marked the Asher catalogue that had them mentioned in it in the 1920s. But that item should be about a $1,500, $2,000 item, but at the very generous Postal Order Society, but $200. And, it's just ridiculous. And I feel for the estate, because I know that Mal's son, and it's partly because they weren't prepared to advertise the auctions widely. These two were old friends, and they represent the first of the postal notes issued in the world. And what I mean by old friends was that at one stage a Brisbane stamp auction sent me their catalogue, and they had these listed, and there was multiples of them. They were all in the one lot, and they were in sheets of 4, uncut. And so the old heart got going, because I really wanted them, and I bought the lot. And to my astonishment, when they arrived, there was even an extra sheet of the 1 shillings. So it wasn't until probably a decade or so later that what I was able to work out was that these were the very last of the postal notes for this first series for Queensland, by the serial numbers and working out what had been issued. So they became, they're important to me anyway, but they're items that I armed myself when I went overseas and swapped with other collectors, and of course I made a trade with Mal at one stage over in England.
Now they've come home.
And this is another item that's come home, is that back in, what is it, 95, is it, 1995?
Yeah,
Well, one of the
95.
One of the really good collectors of Australian, especially gold, was this Ray Kalida. He's Lithuanian, and we made friends years ago because I sold him a lot of coins for his collection. and he's also the one that introduced us to Smith's Lake. You know, when I said that I was interested in going up there, he said, "Oh, we'll go up and stay in our place and see what you think of the place before you move or before you buy." So we had a long attachment with them, and especially with his sons too, who were roughly the age of our sons. They rang us up and said, "Listen, we're up at Cape York, and it'd be good if you came up, you know."
Oh, just like that?
Just, as you do, just a minor drive up there. So we loaded up the Land Cruiser Carol and I think it caught on fire at about Taree or something. So we extinguished that and we made it up to another collector's place at Toowoomba. I think his name was Frank McAdam. He was a bit of a mechanic and such. So he worked on the cruiser for us, and it only took us about a week instead of about 3 or 4 days to get up there. But we had a meeting place at Weipa, so we met up with them at Weipa, and it was no holiday. It was just
Drama.
there was something going on every day, just absolutely astonishing. And we went up to what is it, Barmiga, which is just short of the top part of Cape York. And you could be a Kerry packer or a backpacker in the place. But we stayed there, and then we made a trip over to Thursday Island. And I thought, oh, it'd be good to get some money orders. So I lined up. There was nobody there at that stage, but the queue sort of grew because I'd taken a while writing out all the money orders that I wanted. And this is one of them that I took over to a annual meeting of the society in London and gave them out as gifts.
Oh, that's why they're 5 cents.
So I ended up buying this one back at the auction. So I think that's the is that my items? Yeah, that'll do.
So you got up to Thursday Island.
Oh yeah.
Thank you, Ross. George.
George is coming.
Want to put them on the tray and we can talk about them?
Because Carol and Ross went to bed early in the camping areas, and then they'd wake us up, the young leaders, and say, "Oh, come and see the shark that we've caught," you know. Threw him in. Gosh.
Anybody here?
Come on. Go.
All right.
Yeah, go.
Anybody here been to Malaya? Can you put your hand up?
Yeah, I've been to Malaya.
2,
No,
3.
that's about it.
Singapore's as close
You've
as I
been there
get.
too, have you?
Singapore.
Working or just a holiday?
Holiday,
Holiday?
or both of the day, I think. Holiday.
Working?
There's tourists.
Everything.
It's called Peninsula. It consisted of over a dozen of duchies, like Selangor, Perak, Penang, Johor, Kedah, Perlis, Malacca, Negri, I won't go into it. Involved in there was Singapore and Brunei. Singapore and Brunei backed out. Singapore is a part of the Commonwealth. It's a small island, overpopulated. It's a republic. They have their own currency and government. Likewise with Brunei. Above Borneo, was a place called Sarawak, northwest of Borneo, and since 1841 it was ruled by a Raja, a Brit called Brooks.
James Brooke.
1841 to 58. From 58 to 17 was Charles Brooks. From 17 to 53, another Brooks called
Charles Finer.
Charles Viner. Under the Japanese occupation, Sarawak suffered quite a few atrocities. Mr. Brooks was back in England. He came back and resigned in 53. Malaya decided to have a unification because all these principalities and their currencies was a nightmare. And on their coins you will find the writing Commissioner of Currency, which is a common current Malay piece. They consisted of a half a cent, 1 cent, 5 cents, 10 cents and 20 cents. There were 50 cents under Queen Victoria and Edward and George V. None for George VI. Likewise with the dollar, none for George VI. I will just show you a sample of the coins in here. Under the Brooks,
Put them all there and I'll put it under the camera.
under the Brooks that they had a currency, all decimal again, with 1 cent.
This is a Sarawak.
Well, this is the Brooks currency.
Yes, that's Sarawak. Charles. Charles Brooke.
1870. Now, 1870, and then they ended up enlarging this 1 cent later on, making it a bigger coin. This is a terrible light. A nightmare.
He's a second Raja. James
They're
Brooke
1
was the
cent
first one.
and 2 cent coins. Were square ones.
Go back to 1914, 1914, 1931. Okay. 1937.
Under British rule from Queen Victoria, 1845,
That's right.
we had a visage of the Queen Victoria put out by the Heaton Mint, North England in Birmingham. There was only two other mintages, which was Cayenne and
King Snorton.
and no mintage at all for the Royal Mint. Now, in 1845, I have studied a lot of pictures of Queen Victoria, a lot of effigies of Queen Victoria, but this one takes the cake. For the whole duration of her reign, she aged, and on other coins we had Queen Victoria short hair, Queen Victoria bun head, Queen Victoria Jubilee, and Queen Victoria veil head. Throughout the whole period, all we had here was Queen Victoria with that little ribbon behind her head.
You see the H mint mark for Heaton in Birmingham?
And that's the one penny. What is the date on the penny? 1881, is it?
83.
1883. Okay. After that, we came back to square pennies. After Queen Victoria, we had Edward, her son,
Yep.
only reigned for 10 years. And we had the 50 cent and a nice $1 coin. After Edward, George V, another guy with a beard. Likewise, all the coins were there, mostly by the Cayenne Mint. And then came my favorite king, King George VI. On all our coins, King George VI appeared as a, sorry, what I tried it? Just hold it there, King George VI. English, Australian and New Zealand coins, clean shaven, a nice neat haircut. To me, there's not much said about King George VI in history, but to me, I think he was a great man. His wife, Queen Mary from Scotland,
Queen Elizabeth.
later known as the Queen
Elizabeth.
Mother,
Queen Elizabeth.
and stayed throughout the German bombing of the Battle of Britain, and later on with the V1 and the V2 rocket bombs landing at random in England. He never sought refuge or safety in Canada or South Africa or Australia. He stayed in England, encouraged the people, walked every morning after the bombing to the ruins, and showed them his sign of bravery, solidarity, and above all, courage. Told them to weather the storm, which they did. what these countries and the Far East did was put a crown on George VI. The first country was India. 2 pies, 1/12 of an anna, quarter of an anna, half an anna, rupees, and then even dollars. We had a crown on an Indian coin. Ceylon, just up the hill, was another country which had similar currency, no 20 cents, but 25 cents, put the crown on the king. An unusual thing was Fiji put a crown on the king's head. Here is an Edward, 20 cent, and a George the, just before you go. $10, 20 cent. There should be a 5 cent floating here somewhere. This might be a 5 cent piece.
The 20-cent piece is still straight settlements. And then later on it's the Commission of Currency. There's a Ceylon.
I'm sorry, that's a Ceylon coin.
Yeah.
Just a little bit off track.
On those 2 Australian coins, if you look at the inscriptions around, you will see that on the penny, it has India, so he was still Emperor of India. And on the silver one, it's just Rex because India had been given independence. So it's shown they can no longer say the Emperor of India.
Yes.
So, see, the penny was 42, and the shilling was 48. So by 48, India was no longer part of a British Empire, a British colony.
There's a coin.
Off topic. Anyway, George, we're running out of time, so thank you, George.
I can't seem to
Yeah, George.
locate
George.
Sorry, we're out of
finished
time.
out of time.
locate a 5 cent
Yeah.
piece.
We're out of time.
Anyhow, with
We're out of time, George. Sorry.
the unification of all the Indian states,
George.
It's time for lunch now, George.
today Malaysia with the modern currency. Has anybody else got Malaysia?
We finished.
Finished.
It's over. Yeah.
We're running out of time.
So, did your train get held up? You were late. Said you were late getting here.
Yeah.
What happened?
Just a little quiz at the reception. I asked the bloke for a number. Between 1 and 15. And He gave me a number 11. We'll start off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. 11. You are the lucky winner of a
Plastic